You locked it, you alarmed it, you even parked it backwards against a wall with a 14-pound chain wrapped around a parking meter. Smart, right? Well, not smart enough. Because motorcycle thieves don't just wait around for careless owners anymore. They plan, they adapt, they get creative. And while you're sleeping peacefully thinking your ride is safe, some guy with a fake Uber bag and a signal jammer is already halfway through stealing it without even setting off your alarm. So today we're diving into the new ways your bike can vanish. The weird ones, the techie ones, the bold, stupid, genius ones. Number 1. Bluetooth tracker piggybacking. You check your saddlebags one day and find a strange little disc stuck onto the liner. No name, no number, no explanation. Just a Bluetooth tracker the size of a cookie. And now you realize you didn't find it. It found you. Welcome to the new wave of digital stalking. Some thieves don't need to steal your bike on the spot. They just need to follow you home. And they do that by sneaking a tiny tracker, an AirTag, a tile, or a no-name Amazon knockoff into your gear. Could be under the seat, in a tail bag, wedged behind a reflector. Anywhere you won't notice until it's too late. Once it's on, they don't need to touch your bike. They just wait, watch your routine, figure out where you park, what time you sleep, and whether you lock up or get lazy. Then they show up at 2 a.m. with all the right tools and none of the guesswork. The scariest part, you might not even know it happened. These trackers don't beep, they don't glow, they just ping. And when the pings stop, so does your ownership of that bike. How do you stop it? Scan your bike occasionally with your phone. Apple and Android both let you detect nearby trackers. And if you find one that doesn't belong to you, disable it. Then maybe install one of your own, because two can play at that game. Number 2. Thief as mechanic scam. This one's the perfect crime because it doesn't look like a crime. Picture a van pulling up next to your parked bike. Out steps a guy in a reflective vest, clipboard in hand, maybe even a shirt that says something like Moto Recovery Services. He slaps a fake tow notice on the pole nearby, gives a few fake grunts of frustration, and then proceeds to calmly load your motorcycle into the back of his van like it's part of a scheduled pickup. And no one stops him because it looks official. He's not sneaking around. He's not in a hoodie. He's got posture, purpose, paperwork. Heck, he might even wave to the neighbor. This trick thrives in apartment complexes, business districts, or anywhere a motorcycle might be reasonably repossessed, repaired, or relocated. Nobody wants to interfere with a professional just doing his job. That's the genius of it. You could be 10 feet away grabbing a coffee and still miss what just happened. The only defense here is vigilance and visibility. Park in view of cameras. Use multiple locks, ones that require real tools to remove, not just a confident attitude. And don't assume your surroundings are watching out for you. These guys count on everyone looking the other way. Number 3. Jammer box kill switch. You thought your GPS tracker and alarm system made you invincible. Cute. Professional thieves don't fight the system, they just turn it off. Enter the jammer box, a small, silent device that blocks GSM and GPS signals in a tight radius. That means your tracker, blind, your alarm, mute, your notifications, never sent. It's the digital equivalent to putting your bike in a black hole. These things aren't sci-fi anymore. They're cheap, portable, and devastatingly effective. One guy strolls up with a jammer tucked inside his hoodie pocket. The other handles the lock or the van. You could be sitting 10 feet away with a real-time security app and still have no idea your bike just ghosted into the void. And because these boxes aren't technically illegal in every state, some thieves carry them openly, especially around high-end bikes with factory trackers. It's like wearing noise-canceling headphones to a symphony. You don't care how loud it is because you'll never hear it. How do you fight back? Layer your defense. Use mechanical locks that don't rely on signals. Hide trackers deep in the frame, not just under the seat. And consider a backup alarm with an independent power source, because once a jammer's in play, digital defense becomes a joke. Number 4. Social media recon. It's not just your ex creeping your Instagram. Bike thieves are watching too. You post a clean shot of your ride at the gas station. Looks cool, gets likes, but to them, it's an ad. They zoom in. Aftermarket exhaust, exposed ignition, maybe even a visible lock or no lock at all. They check the background, spot the street sign, and boom, they know exactly where to find it. It gets worse when you tag locations. Late night blast from Joe's Diner. Cool. Now they know your weekend hangout. Finally finished my garage build. Congrats. You just showed them where your bike sleeps, how the door opens, and what kind of tools you keep around. That's not content. That's recon. And the real kicker, you probably have no clue you're on a watch list. These guys have burner accounts, blank profiles, and fake names. They'll follow you, interact like fans, or just lurk silently until the timing's perfect. Then one night, your bike disappears, and the last breadcrumb was something you posted. Want to stay safe? Stop oversharing, blur backgrounds, avoid tagging real-time locations, and never, ever post your home garage with the door open unless you're itching for an uninvited visitor. Because in the age of thieves with Wi-Fi, your likes cost you a bike. Number 5. Staged bike tip setup. You walk outside and your bike's laying on its side. Your heart sinks. Was it wind? A careless driver? A drunk guy? You rush over, adrenaline pumping, focused on the damage. You unlock it, maybe take off the disc lock, prop it up. And that's when it happens. A guy appears out of nowhere, jumps on, fires it up, and vanishes before your brain even catches up. This trick is all about distraction. Thieves know your brain short circuits when your pride and joy is hurt. You're not thinking about theft. You're thinking, please don't be scratched. They'll sometimes even be nearby watching, waiting for you to do the hard part. Unlock it and unarm it. Sometimes they don't even take the bike immediately. They knock it over once, see how fast you respond. If you leave it unlocked or vulnerable while inspecting it, they strike. If you move it somewhere less secure to keep it safe for now, they strike. It's not random, it's staged. The best defense, don't rush. If your bike's down, pause. Look around. Check for people nearby acting too casual. And if you have to unlock anything to move it, relock it immediately afterward. Because to them, a fallen bike isn't an accident. It's bait. Number 6. The wheelchair disguise. You're sitting outside a cafe sipping coffee and you see a guy in a wheelchair slowly roll up next to your bike. He looks harmless. Maybe he's just resting in the shade. You don't think twice. But what you don't notice is the tiny wrench in his lap or the way he's fiddling with your lock like it's a fidget toy. This scam works because nobody wants to accuse someone in a wheelchair of being suspicious. Feels wrong. And that's exactly why it works. Some thieves exploit that instinct. They fake disability, use mobility scooters, even wear fake prosthetics, just enough to disarm your brain's threat radar. While everyone else looks away politely, they're unlocking your bike. Once the lock's gone, they don't ride off. They wait. They roll away like nothing happened. Then their buddy shows up 10 minutes later, hops on, and takes off clean. No tools, no noise, and everyone watching thinks the bike belonged to him all along. How do you stop it? First, don't judge theft risk by appearances. A lock being tampered with is a lock being tampered with, no matter who's doing it. Second, use visual deterrence. A bright disc lock or motion-sensitive alarm won't care about fake sympathy points. It just screams. Number 7. Community app intel. You think you're being smart by complaining about noisy motorcycles on your local neighborhood app. Does anyone know whose bike is waking up the block every night? You post. Or maybe you share a picture of someone revving at 2 a.m. Good citizen, right? Well, guess who else is reading those posts? Thieves love apps like Nextdoor, Facebook neighborhood groups, and even local forums. They're not using them to complain, they're using them to plan. Because every time you post, you're giving out more than noise complaints. You're telling them exactly where the bikes are. You're revealing who rides what, when it's usually parked, and how annoyed or unaware the neighbors are. Even better for them, these posts often come with photos, garage doors, addresses, landmarks, maybe even the license plate, all served up in high res with a comment thread that basically says, "This bike is unattended and unguarded. Please help make it disappear." If you ride, think twice about broadcasting location details online, even when you're just venting. And if you're posting pics, blur that background and hide your plate. Because while you're trying to shame a neighbor for revving too loud, someone else might be planning to make your bike the quietest one on the block by stealing it. Number 8. Delivery driver cover. He's got a helmet, a high-vis vest, and a giant Uber Eats bag. Looks legit, right? He strolls up to your parked motorcycle, fiddles with his phone, glances at the addresses, and starts inspecting the bike. People walking by don't even blink. He's just another guy delivering pad thai to the wrong door. Except that bag, it's not full of noodles, it's full of tools. This trick is diabolical because it blends in perfectly with urban chaos. Food delivery guys are everywhere. They're on scooters, motorcycles, bicycles, and they're constantly lost, confused, or checking maps. So when one spends a few extra minutes crouched next to a bike, nobody thinks twice. Heck, people might even try to help him find the right address. Meanwhile, he's cutting a chain, unlocking a clamp, or plugging in an ECU bypass. Once he's in, he rolls the bike off casually like he's just making a drop-off. In broad daylight, with witnesses, and nobody suspects a thing. If you park in high-traffic areas or busy downtown spots, remember, boldness is a disguise. Don't assume people only steal bikes and hoodies at 2 a.m. Sometimes they do it at lunchtime, in a fake DoorDash jacket, right in front of a security camera. Number 9. Tire deflation trap. You walk out one morning, helmet in hand, all set to ride, only to find your rear tire looks a little sad. Maybe you think it's a slow leak, maybe just bad luck. Either way, you're not going far like that. So you push the bike to a nearby gas station or leave it temporarily parked in a safer spot while you figure things out. That's exactly what they wanted. This trick is all about relocation. The thief doesn't want to steal your bike where it's normally parked. Maybe it's too visible, too busy, or too close to cameras. So they force you to move it for them. Just let a little air out from the rear tire overnight is enough to make you abandon the bike somewhere unfamiliar. And when you walk away, that's when they move in. Even worse, they might monitor that new location. They know the bike isn't locked down like usual. Maybe you didn't chain it because you thought you'd only be a few minutes. Or you're stressed and distracted. And if you called a tow or left it with a shop that doesn't lock it properly, even easier. Moral of the story, always suspect when something seems off. If your tire's flat for no reason, check everything. Valve stem, lock placement, even signs of tampering. Because sometimes the breakdown isn't an accident, it's bait. Number 10. Sidecar swaps and fake recovery. This one's rare, but it's got the creativity of a movie con and the cruelty of a Craigslist scam. Here's how it goes. Your bike gets stolen. You post about it online, offer a reward, maybe even contact recovery services. Then, like magic, someone reaches out. They say they found your bike abandoned in a ditch or spotted it behind a warehouse. You're overjoyed. They show up with a trailer and a bike that looks like yours. But it's not. It's a clone. Same model, maybe the same color. Possibly salvaged, possibly stolen from someone else. They hand it over, you hand over the reward, and you thank them while they drive off with a smug smile and your money. The real bike, already stripped for parts halfway across the ocean. Sometimes it's worse. The fake bike has a different VIN, and you only discover it months later when you try to insure or sell it. By then, the trail's cold, and you just helped launder a stolen bike into legitimacy. Avoid this trap by always verifying the VIN, checking for mismatched parts, and never paying a reward until the police confirm it's your actual bike. Because not every hero is legit. Some are just thieves with a different costume. Number 11. Garage door frequency capture. You thought parking your bike inside the garage made it safe? Think again. If your garage opener uses an older RF remote, or even some newer ones that don't use rolling codes, it's shockingly easy for thieves to clone your access. Here's how it works. They park nearby and use a signal capture device, sometimes disguised as a phone charger or a key fob. When you come home and hit the button to open your garage, they record the frequency. Later, they play it back and boom, your garage opens like they own the place. From there, it's game over. They're inside, out of sight, and they've got all the time in the world to roll your bike out, disable trackers, or back a van in. And your neighbors? They won't blink. Someone coming out of your garage looks a whole lot less suspicious than someone loading a bike off the sidewalk. The worst part is, you won't even know it happened. No broken locks, no forced entry, just an empty space where your bike used to be. The fix? Upgrade your garage opener with a rolling code encryption, or use a smart system with notifications. And for the love of torque, don't leave your remote clipped to your sun visor like it's 1997. That's not a convenience, it's an invitation. Number 12. Drain and tow. Silent kill method. This one's the long con. No drama, no sparks, no noise, just sabotage. A thief scopes out your bike the night before. Maybe they saw it parked in the same spot all week. Maybe you posted about it online. Either way, they sneak up and quietly pull a fuel line, unplug an injector wire, or drain just enough gas to keep it from starting. You wake up, get geared up, turn the key, and nothing. Now comes the magic trick. You're frustrated, maybe running late, and you do what anyone would. You leave it behind. Maybe you lock it and Uber to work. Maybe you push it to a shop. Or maybe a helpful stranger offers to tow it with their van. And just like that, your bike is gone, and you actually helped. This trick works especially well in apartment complexes or suburban neighborhoods. Anywhere the owner might walk away from a dead bike thinking, I'll deal with it later. By the time you do, it's gone. No broken lock, no evidence, just a ghost. Want to stop it? Do a quick check if your bike mysteriously won't start. Fuel, hoses, electrical connectors, and never, ever let a stranger help load your bike into anything. If you didn't call for a tow, you don't need a van. You need a camera and maybe a dog. Thieves aren't just smashing locks, they're outsmarting riders. GPS jammers, fake tow trucks, Bluetooth trackers. This isn't petty crime, it's professional. And if you're still relying on a steering lock and wishful thinking, you're playing catch-up. You don't need a fortress, you just need to stop making it easy. Park smart, lock to something solid, stay unpredictable. Because the second you think, it won't happen to me, that's when it does. And if you learned even one trick today you hadn't heard before, give this video a like so YouTube doesn't bury it like your stolen bike. Drop your own close calls or anti-theft tips in the comments. Someone out there will thank you for it. And hit subscribe if you want to ride smarter, not just harder.